What's up? Fish House and
Hey,
Derek Rose.
idiot.
Uzi.
Derek Rose.
Fish House, an idiot.
Sam just got on. He just made the Chicago Bulls team.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm filling in for Derek Rose.
Woohoo! And
I'm only averaging like 0.1 a game.
wow.
Wow. How'd you make the team?
I don't know. Your mom.
Carnifex, Dragged into the Grave, their new song off of their new album, Die Without Hope, coming out March 4th. Nuclear Blast Records. We're going to talk about it. What's your thoughts?
I mean, to sum it up, kind of quickly. I mean, the music is cool. It's like cool deathcore, you know, fast-paced stuff, and then heavy stuff, and then just your usual stuff. I mean, I feel like I can't go in depth. Like if you listen to Carnifex, you should just know it. And you know, if you've never listened to Carnifex, and it's basically deathcore. It's like quality deathcore, you could say. It's a cut above the rest. The music is cool. I mean, it's a bit different than what they've usually done before. I'm kind of waiting on the album to see if it's, you know, gonna be kind of like the music they've done before, where a lot of the songs just kind of... I remember Tyler pointing this out to me before, that a lot of their songs are structured very similarly. Sometimes they're very, you know, same. But the music is cool. It sounds just as good as ever. It sounds just as heavy as it ever has. Cool riffs, cool drumming, cool blah blah blah. All the, you know, stuff you could just fill in for me. You know what I'm talking about. Vocally, I was kind of disappointed there. I feel like Scott Lewis just doesn't use different vocal patterns. If you listen to a couple of the different songs, like I can't believe it. It's the only Carnifex album I have.
Until I Feel Nothing?
Yeah. I forgot the name. I haven't listened to it in a while. I haven't listened to the band in a while. They've been on a break for a while. But I feel like you take any song off of that, or just any song, I feel like Scott Lewis just uses these very similar vocal patterns. If you go through and listen to the way he says things, like just the entire song, I kept feeling it. Even through the breakdown, I'm like, whenever it's like a breakdown, it gets very slow and very heavy, and he like makes it, you know, he extends everything and slows it down and tries to sound very brutal. I'm like, he sounded like that before. During the verses, he just sounds like, I feel like he should be screaming faster. Maybe not like Phil Bozeman fast, but speed it up or something. Like, you know, yeah, it's brutal. I get that. I understand that. That's what I'm getting from the music. From the vocalist, I want something that's cool, you know? I don't want just dragging on vocals. I actually want some, you know, matching with the music, you know, going faster, going slower, you know, blah, 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 you know. And I feel like I'm just disappointed with him. And his lyrics are basically the same as ever. I feel like he said something along the lines of embrace death, or death embraces me, or embrace. I feel like he said that like 150 idiot times. And it's just, I mean, I'm not seeing anything new from him. The band has improved, at least so far from this one song. I'm like, alright, cool. You guys have my attention. But the vocalist, I'm like, you know, write about something else. Or mix things up. Go scream faster. Scream, you know, slower at some parts. Just don't go the same pace, same vocal patterns, same crap, you know. Try something new. It's not going to kill you. I mean, if it does, then, you know, you got what you wanted in the songs. I was talking about killing yourself and stuff.
Yeah. I pretty much feel the same way. I thoroughly enjoyed this song, though. I feel that this, overall, has the best sound and just best production that Carnifex has ever had. I mean, it just sounds heavy, it sounds clear, it is just very good how this sounds. And I think that comes from the benefits of being on a much better label in Nuclear Blast. I think it was Victory Records that they were on. Yeah, Victory Records.
Heard nothing. I haven't heard very many good things about Victory Records.
I know, right? They fuck over a lot of bands. But so that was definitely better. But I mean, the thing that's always bugged me about Carnifex is their very similar song structures. They're all very patterned. It'll start with like something really fast, then it'll go to something groovy, then a breakdown, then something groovy, then breakdown, then fast and groovy or whatever. It kind of all goes the same way. I didn't really feel that with this, which is a good thing. I felt like they kind of let the song go where it went. Nothing felt forced. It felt like they weren't out of ideas like on their past albums, where things just felt a little bit forced to where they didn't know what to do, so breakdown or something like that, or they just came up with some random ass riff and just threw it in there or something. It really just felt like it went where it went. There's just my favorite part of this song. It's kind of ironic or whatever, but that brutal, just slow as hell breakdown in the middle. After that, they probably would have went to something that was way upbeat, super fast. In their older material. Here, they went to something that was still kind of slow. They just kind of let it go. Yeah, and the lead in that breakdown just gives you this very weird feeling. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it was incredible. And another thing that really shocked me about this is when they did these sweeps right before that. I've never heard Carnifex really come out and play sweeps or these great guitar solos or something. So that was pretty cool. It just felt like overall from a musical standpoint that their time off from writing albums and touring really has benefited them, and they've come back, they've fresh and just ready to write new stuff instead of maybe being like, oh, another record, gotta do this. So that was pretty cool. But then at the same time, I feel Sam when it comes to Scott Lewis's vocals. He's a good vocalist. I mean, he has a range to it, but he's kind of one dimensional. He can't really do many things besides writing about kind of the same things, saying things the same way. And I completely agree with him. I mean, it feels like when the music behind him is fast, his vocals are like, bah, 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 but then when it's slow, he's just like, bah, da, 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 something like that. He doesn't really change it up. He doesn't keep his vocals interesting, I guess you can say. They kind of fall in the background to the music, to the heaviness and stuff like that. And that's it. That's the part that kind of sucks. Is I feel that, like Sam said, the band has improved, but he hasn't. And the vocals are the lyrics are just, to me, the worst part about this song. Is that every deathcore band writes about killing or just writes about dying, and the world fucking sucks and I'm gonna kill myself, and it's just like, move on, man. It just, no. And that just was very disappointing about it. But overall, I mean, I felt that there was a lot more melody in this. There was some very cool leads throughout the whole song. It was a good song. And, I mean, I'm not saying that the album's going to suck. I'm not saying that this album's going to be amazing. I want to hear the rest of the album. And, but hopefully, the rest of the album is just as good as this, if not even better. So we'll see, for sure.
Definitely about Scott Lewis, though. I feel like 3 years ago for me, or 2 or 3 years ago for me, when kids that first start getting into deathcore, at least back when I was starting to get into a heavier type of music, deathcore is pretty accessible and pretty cool. Deathcore is kind of been on this downgrade since then. You know, it's not like a ton of deathcore bands coming out with like a ton of deathcore music. A lot of stuff now is groovy or metalcore stuff. You know, groovy being the gent or whatever if you want. I feel, but back then, or when I first got into it, I feel like Scott Lewis's brutal vocals were like, oh yeah, that's cool. But by now, the bands I've listened to, just throwing out a name there, I mean, it's unfair to compare anyone to him, but Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder, he has these lows, he has these highs, and then he does this, like, fluctuation, this variation on them. He goes places, and he does all this crap, and it's like, you know, he can go fast, he can go slow, brutal, he can, you know, he's crazy. And I'm sure Scott Lewis has been doing this for a while. I'm pretty sure Carnifex has been around for a good amount of time, and I'm just thinking, you know, this sounds like a guy, this is maybe their second album. I remember before listening to a Suffocate album, I forget, remember which one it was? There's something with a house on it. It wasn't one of their better ones, it was like their first or second album. And I'm just listening thinking, Ricky Hoover's cool. I mean, he got better, but I'm just thinking, like, everything just sounds boring. Because it's, you know, I just feel like nothing's happening. There's that illusion of nothing happening. I get that with Scott Lewis. The music is cool. The music saves this song. But just the vocals, I feel like there's not enough to keep me interested.
I mean, he kind of sounds how he has since their, like, first or second album.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. Because, you know, vocalists get better. I mean, I just don't get it. I was very disappointed. Not that he's bad. I mean, he's brutal and he has cool highs. I'm disappointed in the lack of variation on things. If you know, this was like their first album, I'd be like, oh wow, he sounds good. Now it's time for him to improve, try new things, everything like that. Like, you even want to go, which is even more unfair, compared to the Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation. That guy makes a bunch of different sounds. Like, what the hell is he doing? He doesn't even sound human. Because you try new things and you expand and stuff. And I feel like I'm just disappointed in the fact that the lyrics are very similar and vocals are very similar. That's the part. He's the front man. He's supposed to improve. I mean, a few years ago I've been like, oh yeah, that's brutal. You know, that it writes it a check in my book. But anymore, I have to be impressed, and I just wasn't with that. And I was disappointed. And I want to see the album. Maybe they try some new stuff, but I'm just like, you know, sometimes your bread and butter isn't what you should always stick to. You know,
just put some jelly on it every once in a while.
Bread and butter and jelly.
Yeah, you should put some ham and cheese on your bread. So yeah, we'll be reviewing the album when it comes out March 4th. Let us know your thoughts on the song. If I remember, and if I feel like it, I'll put it down there. If not, you can look it the fuck up yourself.